The Most Wanted list is definitely not a game. It's taken seriously by the FBI, local law enforcement, and the general public. These criminals are considered extremely dangerous and pose a significant threat to society if left uncaught. Their crimes are so disturbing that they can't go free without risking further harm to others. To this day, the FBI continues their search for these criminals, but with little success. These fugitives are smart, resourceful, and above all, dangerous. So without further ado, here are the top 10 most dangerous fugitives on the FBI's most wanted list. Number 10. Michael James Pratt. The owner and operator of a pornography production company, who is charged with sex trafficking and production of child pornography, now becomes one of the 10 most wanted fugitives list of the FBI, and there's a reward of $100,000. Michael James Pratt and his co-conspirators allegedly used internet advertisements along with fake websites and email addresses to recruit young women for modeling jobs. Only after the victims responded to the advertisements would Pratt and others disclose that they were actually seeking women for pornographic video shoots, according to charging documents. Investigators say the women were promised that the videos were for a private collector overseas and that they would remain anonymous. Pratt and his partners allegedly hired other young women to falsely reassure reluctant participants that their images would never appear online. But the videos were indeed posted online, and Pratt's pornography websites, Girls Do Porn and Girls Do Toys, made millions of dollars in revenue from the videos between approximately 2012 and 2019. Pratt has victimized hundreds of young women through the course of this conspiracy, said Supervisory Special Agent Renee Green with the FBI's San Diego field office. Pratt has ties to or may visit New Zealand, Australia, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Turkey, Singapore, Japan, Chile, Croatia, and France. One victim was under the age of 18 during her encounter with Pratt. According to court documents and investigators, other victims reported being forced into sexual acts to which they did not consent, as well as being threatened and intimidated by Pratt and his partners when they learned their videos were posted to his websites and wanted them removed. Several of Pratt's co-conspirators have faced justice for their roles in the scheme. The website's cameraman and its bookkeeper each pleaded guilty to trafficking charges in 2021. One of their website's lead recruiters and producers, Ruben Garcia of San Diego, was sentenced to 20 years in prison for his role in the trafficking conspiracy. Pratt's alleged co-owner, Matthew Isaac Wolf, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion. Wolf is scheduled to be sentenced in October 2022. Pratt is the only major player in the conspiracy who is still at large. Number 9. Arnoldo Jimenez. Arnold Jimenez is wanted by the FBI for first-degree murder and unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, after allegedly killing his new bride a day after their wedding. Jimenez allegedly stabbed his wife, Estrella Carrera, to death in his black four-door 2006 Maserati on May 12, 2012, the day after they got married. He then allegedly dragged her body into the bathtub of her apartment in Burbank, Illinois, where her body was found on May 13th in the silver sequin dress she had worn to her wedding reception. Carrera, 26, was a mother of two, with one child from a previous relationship and a son with Jimenez. She told only a handful of people about her plans to get married. The pair got married at Chicago City Hall, celebrating with family and friends at a dinner before heading to a nightclub. Carrera's sister alleged that the woman's family received a phone call from one of Jimenez's relatives on May 13, telling the Associated Press that he allegedly said he had left Carrera bleeding after a bad fight. A state warrant for Jimenez's arrest for first-degree murder was issued on May 15th, following a federal arrest warrant issued by the United States District Court, Northern District of Illinois' Eastern Division, 2 days later when Jimenez was charged federally for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. The FBI believed Jimenez may have fled to Durango, Mexico, and say he may also frequent Reynosa in Tamaulipas. They also say he should be considered armed and dangerous. Jimenez was added to the FBI's top 10 most wanted list in 2019. Number 8. Jason Derek Brown. Jason Derek Brown, born on July 1, 1969, is an American fugitive wanted for first-degree murder and armed robbery in Phoenix, Arizona. On November 29, 2004, Brown allegedly shot and killed an armored car guard outside a movie theater and then fled with the money. On December 8, 2007, he was named by the FBI as the 489th fugitive to be placed on its 10 most wanted list. He is considered to be armed and extremely dangerous. On September 7, 2022, he was removed from the 10 most wanted list without being captured. He was replaced on the list by Michael James Pratt. On November 29, 2004, Robert Keith Palomares, a 24-year-old armored car guard, was carrying the weekend deposits outside the AMC Theater at 4915 East Ray Road in Phoenix. At approximately 10 a.m., a hooded gunman ambushed and shot Palomares with a .45 caliber semi-automatic Glock. 5 out of 6 bullets fired struck Palomares in the head. Although armed, Palomares had no time to defend himself. The gunman took a money bag containing $56,000 in cash, ran into a nearby alley, and fled the scene on a bicycle. Witnesses initially described the shooter as being anywhere from 25 to 30 years old and Hispanic. However, authorities recovered the bicycle and lifted fingerprints from it that instead linked Brown to the ambush murder. Accordingly, he was soon considered the prime suspect in the case, and an arrest warrant was issued on December 4th by Maricopa County Superior Court charging Brown with first-degree murder and armed robbery. Brown was later also charged with unlawful flight to avoid prosecution in a federal arrest warrant issued on December 6 by the United States District Court for the District of Arizona. Investigators have considered Brown's desperate financial situation as a possible motive. Number 7. Alexis Flores. Alexis Flores is a Honduran fugitive, murderer, and child rapist wanted for the kidnapping, rape, and murder of 5-year-old Iriana de Jesus in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 2000. In the summer of 2000, a homeless drifter known as Carlos had been given shelter, clothing, and work as a handyman by Hunting Park, Philadelphia resident George Contreras. On August 3rd, 5 days after being reported missing, the body of 5-year-old Iriana de Jesus was found in the basement of an empty apartment building where Carlos is believed to have stayed. She had been sexually assaulted, strangled, and wrapped in a trash bag. A t-shirt bearing a distinct political logo was found near Iriana's body, with her blood on it. When police questioned Contreras about the shirt, he recognized it as one of the articles of clothing he had lent to Carlos, who had not been seen in the area since the girl was reported missing. Carlos then became wanted for questioning, and a sketch of him was profiled on America's Most Wanted. Flores was arrested for shoplifting in Arizona in 2002. 2 years later, police came to Flores' residence in response to a noise complaint. After giving fraudulent identity documents to police, Flores was arrested for possession of a forgery device, a felony in Arizona. When he was arrested, Flores had a welcoming demeanor, was friendly, and cooperated with the police during questioning. Upon entering his apartment for further investigation, officers noticed pornography spread across the floors. Flores told immigration officials that he had lived in Schaumburg, Illinois prior to living in Phoenix. He was incarcerated for 60 days and deported to Honduras after his release in June 2005. Number 6. Eugene Palmer. Eugene Palmer, wanted for allegedly shooting and killing his daughter-in-law outside her home in Stony Point, New York, on September 24, 2012, has been added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list. He should be considered armed and dangerous. Palmer would now be 80 years old, although some members of his family have asserted that he likely died in the Harriman Woods. Haverstraw Police Detective Michael Kruger said no body was found during multiple searches, and he believes Palmer is very much alive. The victim of the shooting was married to Eugene Palmer's son and lived with their 2 children close to several members of the Palmer family on a large parcel of land. According to the Haverstraw Police Department and the FBI, Eugene Palmer developed a strained relationship with Tammy Palmer as her marriage to Eugene's son deteriorated. Before the incident, Detective Kruger said a judge issued an order of protection. On the morning of September 24, 2012, Tammy Palmer walked her children to catch the school bus at the end of the property's long driveway. Eugene Palmer was believed to have been hiding in the woods, and as she walked the driveway back toward her home, Palmer allegedly shot at her from a distance, striking her arm and then missing her with a second shot. The third fatal shot was delivered at close range to the victim's chest. FBI New York Special Agent Andrew Fisher said that after the shooting, Eugene Palmer fled into the wooded 45,000-acre state park that borders the family property. He drove his truck about 100 yards into Harriman State Park and walked in. Law enforcement located his vehicle and with the help of search dogs followed his scent to a campground in the woods. The dogs lost their scent on another roadway in the park. Fisher says the fact that Palmer is a senior citizen does not make him less of a risk or less of a priority to law enforcement. His age doesn't change the level of violence in this crime, he said. Palmer is mostly bald with some gray hair and brown eyes. He is 5 foot 10 inches tall, weighs 220 pounds, and has a misshapen thumb on his left hand. He's a car racing enthusiast and an experienced hunter and outdoorsman. Number 5. Badresh Kumar Shatanbai Patel. Patel has been on the run since 2015 when he allegedly killed his wife, Palak, with a knife inside of a Dunkin' Donuts coffee shop in Hanover, Maryland state. He's been charged with murder. Patel, who was 24 at that time, allegedly hit his 21-year-old wife in the face with a kitchen knife and stabbed her several times in the back room of the shop where they both worked, while customers were still there. According to officials quoted by WTOP radio, he was last known to have taken a taxi from a hotel in New Jersey to a train station in New York in the state. Tim Altomer, who was the police chief of Anne Arundel County at the time, told the radio, "The violence in this case was stark. It was heart-wrenching, and it took a shock to our collective conscience on the police department." WTOP reported that investigators think that Patel was still in the U.S. in 2017 when he was put on the FBI list, and according to Altomer, investigators believe that someone was knowingly helping Patel or was interacting with him without knowing about his alleged crime. The radio reported, according to Gordon Johnson, who was the special agent in charge of the FBI's Baltimore field office in 2017, Patel was put on the list because of the brutality of the crime and the likelihood that someone outside the U.S. knows where he was. The couple's visas expired about a month before the killing, and investigators believe that Palak Patel wanted to return to India, but her husband opposed it, WTOP reported. The FBI's notice says that the accused should be considered armed and extremely dangerous. According to the FBI, he was born in Gujarat, India. Number 4. Omar Alexander Cardenas. Omar Alexander Cardenas, wanted by the FBI for his alleged involvement in the murder of a man in Syomar in 2019. He's been added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list, the FBI and the Los Angeles Police Department announced. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $100,000 for information leading directly to the arrest of Cardenas. Cardenas is suspected of firing several shots from a semi-automatic handgun in the direction of a barbershop, striking an adult man in the head on August 15, 2019. The man was standing outside the barbershop and died from the gunshot. It took place at the Hair Icon Barbershop, which is located in a shopping center in Syomar. At the scene of the crime, Mr. Cardenas is believed to have fired approximately 6 shots into a public space, said Special Agent Michael Alker, who's investigating the case for the FBI's Los Angeles field office. He's not only a risk to the public, but he may also have information related to other violent crimes. The FBI said Cardenas is a member of the Pierce Street Gang and may associate with the Pacoima Van Nuys Boys, Anybody Killers. Cardenas, who goes by the nickname Dollar, the Superior Court of Los Angeles County issued, on April 3, 2020, a local arrest warrant for Cardenas, was charged with murder. The United States District Court Central District of California issued a federal arrest warrant on September 2, 2021, after he was charged with unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. Cardenas is between 5 foot 6 inches and 5 foot 7 inches tall and weighs approximately 240 to 300 pounds. He has dark brown or black hair, a beard, and brown eyes. Number 3. Alejandro Rosales Castillo. Alejandro Rosales Castillo is an American fugitive who was added to the FBI Top 10 Most Wanted Fugitives list on October 24, 2017. He is wanted for the August 2016 murder of Truck Kwan Sandy Lai Lee in Charlotte, North Carolina. In 2016, a then 17-year-old Castillo worked at a Showmars restaurant in Charlotte, North Carolina, and was co-workers with 23-year-old Truck Kwan Sandy Lai Lee. The two reportedly briefly dated, and at some point Lee had lent Castillo some money which he never paid back to her. Another co-worker of theirs was 19-year-old Amia Feaster, who was Castillo's new girlfriend after he split from Lee. On August 9, 2016, Castillo texted Lee saying that he would like to repay her the money she had previously loaned him. Lee agreed to meet Castillo at a Quick Trip located on Eastway Drive in Charlotte. Castillo was picked up that afternoon by Feaster, who collected him in her red Dodge Caliber and took him to the meeting. He was last seen alive at the Quick Trip, where she agreed to meet Castillo. It's believed that instead of repaying her, Castillo forced Lee to withdraw all the money from her bank account, possibly with a gun. According to Lee's uncle, her bank statements showed that she withdrew $1,000 from an ATM. After this withdrawal, there was no money left in her bank account. Investigators believe that Castillo then drove Lee to a wooded area in Cabarrus County, where he shot her once in the head, killing her. Her body was then dumped in a ravine. Castillo and Feaster then fled in Lee's black four-door 2003 Toyota Corolla. After murdering Lee, Castillo and Feaster drove from North Carolina to Phoenix, Arizona. They parked Lee's car at a bus shelter in Phoenix, where it was later found abandoned on August 15th. Lee was reported missing the day after she was murdered, and Castillo and Feaster were reported missing on August 11th and 12th. Feaster's Dodge Caliber was found abandoned on August 13th in the 11,000 block of Doolin Creek Boulevard in Charlotte. Later that day, Feaster and Castillo reportedly called their families saying they were safe but did not know where they were. Castillo and Feaster then made their way to Nogales, Arizona, where they crossed the border into Mexico. Surveillance footage captured images of Castillo crossing the border into Mexico. He has not been seen since. Investigators believe that Castillo is still hiding in Mexico, possibly in the cities of San Francisco de los Romo or Pabellón de Arteaga, in the state of Aguascalientes. He may also be hiding in the states of Guanajuato or Veracruz. On August 17, 2016, the body of Lee was found in a wooded area in Cabarrus County. She had been shot once in the head. Investigators say they believe the motive for the murder was simply robbery. On November 2, 2016, Castillo was charged with first-degree murder. He was later charged with unlawful flight to avoid prosecution on February 10, 2017. On October 20, 2016, Feaster turned herself in to the authorities in Aguascalientes, Mexico. She got in touch with her mother, who cooperated with U.S. authorities and arranged for her to be collected at an airport. On August 22, Feaster was extradited back to the U.S. and was arrested by the Harris County Sheriff's Office near Houston, Texas. She was charged with accessory after the fact of felony murder and larceny of a motor vehicle. According to Feaster, both she and Castillo had been staying with Castillo's cousins in Aguascalientes. At some point during the 2 months they were staying down there, Castillo disappeared and went missing once again. Number 2. Jose Rodolfo Villarreal Hernandez. Hernandez is a Mexican fugitive and drug cartel boss who was added to the FBI Top 10 Most Wanted Fugitives list on October 13, 2020. He is wanted for orchestrating the murder of Juan Jesus Guerrero Chapa, which was carried out on May 22, 2013, in Southlake, Texas. He is also believed to be responsible for numerous murders in Mexico. The United States Department of State's Transnational Organized Crime Rewards Program is offering a reward of up to $1 million for information leading directly to his arrest. He was a leader of the Beltran-Leyva cartel. A few years prior to the 2013 murder of Juan Jesus Guerrero Chapa, Villarreal Hernandez's father was murdered by the Gulf Cartel, a rival cartel to the Beltran-Leyva, with whom they had an ongoing feud. Guerrero, who was a lawyer, was reportedly associated with the Gulf Cartel and represented the Gulf Cartel leader Osiel Cárdenas Guillén. Villarreal Hernandez blamed Guerrero personally for the death of his father and sought revenge. On the evening of May 22, 2013, two hitmen working for Villarreal Hernandez, known only as Clorox and Captain, tracked Guerrero and his wife in their vehicle as they drove to Southlake Town Square. Around 6:47 p.m., Guerrero climbed into the front passenger seat of his burgundy Range Rover while his wife placed bags into the back of the vehicle. The two assassins, driving a white Toyota Sequoia, pulled up behind them. The passenger exited the vehicle wearing a hoodie and a bandana and fired multiple rounds from a 9mm handgun at Guerrero. Guerrero was shot in his side and back before slumping motionless against the front seats. The shooter returned to the car and the assassins escaped. Guerrero was rushed to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. His wife escaped the shooting unharmed. 3 men who were connected to the assassination plot have since been arrested for their involvement in the crime. The 2 assassins and Villarreal Hernandez remain at large. Number 1. Ruja Ignatova. Ruja Ignatova, the so-called crypto queen, has now been named the most wanted fugitive by the FBI. The FBI added Ignatova to its 10 most wanted fugitives list for allegedly defrauding investors of more than $4 billion through OneCoin, a cryptocurrency company she helped found in 2014. Ignatova, a Bulgarian lawyer, claimed to have invented a cryptocurrency to rival Bitcoin. She and others allegedly made false statements while soliciting investments and promoted OneCoin through a multi-level marketing strategy, according to the FBI. OneCoin also claimed to have a private blockchain, as opposed to a public and verifiable one that other virtual currencies have. And the value of OneCoin was determined by the company rather than market demand, the FBI said. The FBI alleges that Ignatova ultimately persuaded investors to give her billions of dollars, capitalizing on the buzz around cryptocurrencies before disappearing in 2017 after a federal warrant was issued for her arrest. Investigators believe Ignatova may have been tipped off that she was under investigation by the U.S. and international authorities. On October 25, 2017, she traveled from Sofia, Bulgaria, to Athens, Greece, and has not been seen since, according to the FBI. Ignatova was indicted in February 2018 on one count each of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering, conspiracy to commit securities fraud, and securities fraud. While speaking at an event in London in June 2016, Ignatova told the crowd that she believed OneCoin would become the #1 cryptocurrency worldwide. Though in an email with her co-founder, Ignatova reportedly described an exit strategy for OneCoin as "take the money and run and blame someone else for this," according to federal prosecutors. Ignatova is the only woman on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list and is the 11th in its 72-year history, said the FBI, which is offering a reward of up to $100,000 for information leading to her arrest. She was known to travel throughout Eastern Europe and the Mideast and may have had plastic surgery to alter her appearance, the FBI said. Well, there you have it. All of these cases give us chills down our spines, don't they? Comment down below your thoughts. Oh, and if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, then subscribe and have the bell icon on to never miss out on such spine-chilling videos.